Hello, 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 everybody. Holy cow. It's so great to see all of your non-existent digital faces in the chat. Thank you.
Holy shit cow, you mean, I think.
Yes, holy shit cow is what I mean. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 14, also known as the grand finale of Arc 2 of our main D&D campaign. My name is Connie, my pronouns are they, he, and she, and I am your GM and executive producer behind Transplanar, which if you don't know is our all transgender, people of color-led 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign set in a non-colonial anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter and on Itch.io at @ByConnieChong, as it says up here. I'm also a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program. So I'm now going to I'm now going to pass introductions along to Devin.
Hello everyone, my name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on our Discord server, which is a wonderful, wonderful place. Come on in, share pictures of your pets, chat about the campaign, quote, post videos of us saying stupid shit on stream because it happens more than you think. And theorize about what's going to happen, and most importantly, pictures of your pets, because your pets are wonderful and amazing, and I love all of them. And I'll pass the introductions on to Erica.
Hi everybody, it's me. I'm Erica. She, her pronouns. I play Vinox Shirzo, that lovable elf sorcerer with draconic ancestry. And you can find me at Erica New Girl pretty much every place of social media, especially here on Twitch, where last night we had a huge subathon celebration of hitting 1,000 followers. It was a wild, wild time. I recognized so many people from this community was there. Thank you so much. We had a blast playing Resident Evil 7. In fact, now I have emotes of me screaming that some people made from my community, so that's fun. And with that, I will pass it on to Max.
Hey y'all, it's me Max. I go by they them pronouns. And you can find me on Instagram mostly, doing my sewing stuff at Stitchmonger. I'll pass it to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, tabletop, variety, digital art streamer. As you can see, I'm actually the GM now. So Connie, you're playing Oka today. Actually, just kidding. I'm playing Oka Hie, our lovable, bitchy, Aasimar blood hunter. And you can find me also on Twitch streaming, generally speaking, on Sundays, Tuesdays, Fridays, maybe more in the future, at pi_sharp. And without further ado, Connie, tell us about our future programming.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. But before I get into that, thank you everyone for being patient about our tech issues. As you can tell, I'm sitting where C is and C's sitting where I usually sit, even though the overlay is the same because my computer crapped out. It's been lagging on video, as many of you have noticed for the past couple episodes, so I'm going to try to get that fixed. If we have any tech whizzes in chat, please DM me on Twitter at @ByConnieChong, because this is an open invitation. I need your help. I don't know what's going on. I think there's something wrong with my drivers. But with that out of the way, as a reminder, we've changed our schedule, so the only piece of programming is this, our weekly D&D session, Saturdays 3 p.m. US Central Time. So as always, we greatly appreciate all the support you've already showed to us by continuing to tune in on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Central, telling your friends about us, tweeting about us, Instagramming about us, etc. And all the art, including all the Furby art that we've gotten of our campaign. We love it so much. It literally gives us so much life. So I'm going to pass the baton back to C to talk about our promo partners.
Maybe we should just stop passing it back and forth in future. Maybe we can just streamline that somehow. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to do this without looking at the script. So here we go. As always, thank you for supporting us, but also you can check out our promo partners by using the !promo partners command in chat to check out other BIMPOC, trans, and queer-led streams, pods, and projects. We support all of them. We really appreciate all of them being in the TTRPG space with us. And as always, you can go to where our unupdated merch store by using the !merch command in chat and get to our Redbubble page. But maybe for Arc 3, we'll have some new merch. Anyway, over to you, Erica.
Yeah, so when it comes time for me to talk, I love to thank everyone who has gift subbed, given bits and donos. This is what we love. And those people for episode 13 were River Watches live streams, Rika Honda, Yikes It's Tristan, Max Morkson, Scruffasa, Screwed Imposter Nightbright, Key Squared, and Lizzie B. The Cruise. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity. Also, as you can see on our overlay, we do have a 25 sub goal. At 5 subs, that grants the group 1 point of collective inspiration. At 15, it grants an auto crit that anyone can use including the GM. And at 25, which we seemed to pass during the waiting room, that unlocks a backstory to one of our PCs that we Connie, do we want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now. So everyone throw up, because we already went through the gamut, so everyone throw up a finger between 1 and 4, and I've got my trusty D4 here that I'm going to roll. Okay. Who's number... Oh, I see. Okay. Great. That I've figured it out. I know who it is. So please continue, Erica.
All right. Oh boy, that's always great. And actually, that's it for me. That's where we're at. So why don't we pass it to Max? If you could please remind me what all happened, because last week was a wild episode.
It sure was. Thanks a lot to Beast Shenanigans. But anyways, if you want to read what happened during, I guess, the entirety of Arc 2, and before that, you can use the exclamation point recap command in the chat, or go to bit.ly/transrecap. Here's what happened last time. The race is on. The party starts off in last, and decides to take a perilous shortcut in an attempt to gain some ground. They traverse sweltering swamps and pools of quicksand, encounter some huge moss turtles, and watch V go on a personal journey from alligator life coach to Pegasus racehorse. They fight off competitors including giant snake riders, an orb pulled by a giant frog, and our old friends the Bulettes, which Oka immediately goes after. They're taking a short break to let Gator and Allie catch their breath, and then it's hopefully back out to the open water and to the Raven's Eye to find Manai's parents once and for all. Pass it back to Devin this time.
You're muted, friend. You're muted.
Goodness, what in the heck? That is illegal. Well, now moving on to the title of Arc 2, Episode 14. That's this one right here. The title of each episode of our campaign is taken from poems or songs written by queer, trans, and or people of color. So the title of this episode is from the Catastrophic Breakdown in the book Exiles of Eden by Ladan Osman. The full verse reads as follows. The water maintains a boundary. She has salt in her heart, tastes it, feels it pour out of her. Must her flank her riven and riven and riven heart, mended again and again with her distilled desire for the sea.
All right, thank you so much for that, Devin. And now moving on to the session itself, the moment you've all been waiting for. Some content warnings for our campaign may include guns.
So exciting.
Yes. Oh, here, there's probably also like ocean terror, like wide open ocean, because we're gonna hit the ocean in this episode. So that and giant spiders, giant snakes, addiction, memory loss, body horror, gore, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. At any point, you can access these content warnings using !CW in chat. So please don't feel shy about using that, and take care of yourselves, because this is the finale, y'all. Shit's probably gonna get intense, and we love our safety tools here. Okay, now that everyone is ready, just so y'all know, I have a big, beautiful opening spiel prepared. So players, strap into your buttocks, and audience members, grab a cup of tea, sit down, kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Just start it.
Okay,
Just start
I'm
it.
stalling, okay, please. Okay, anyway, let's get started. Sprout had always wanted to be a keeper of the weave-spun nest, ever since their third star cycle, when they had first learned about the role from an elder in Hug Death. It was an honor, they'd been told. Only those chosen by the Raven Queen herself were worthy of guarding the sacred nest, meditating at its roots, trimming its twigs, and feeding the birds that flocked to it. Sprout remembers asking, "How do you know if you're chosen?" But the elder had only smiled. "You'll know, child. You'll know." Even so, when the Paragon came, Sprout remembers being surprised. They'd been climbing the gnarled branches of the nest, sprinkling bird seed along the twisted boughs, and thinking deeply. Ever since the changing of the keepers during Adolin, something had been off at the nest. A feeling of pressure, of waking up from morning meditation only for it to be nightfall already. More birds than ever. The other keepers noticed it too, of course. B chalked it up to the cataclysm, but Sprout wasn't so sure. None of it felt hostile, just big, like they were frogs in the mud, unaware that they were part of a swamp, a bigger picture. And then there was the derby, but that was another matter entirely. Sprout was thinking about all of these things as they sprinkled the bird seed. They were so caught up in their ruminations that they didn't notice when the woman parted the wall of vines and stepped into the clearing of the nest. They didn't notice when she pulled back the black leather hood of her sleeveless armor and narrowed her golden eyes. They didn't notice the blood sweat running down her temples. They did, however, notice when she spoke. "I'm ready." Sprout remembers turning around in surprise. They remember opening their mouth to say, excuse me, but I am a keeper of the weave-spun nest. You can't be here. Only other keepers. They remember a flash of void light, black, a tenebrous fabric of darkness folding around the woman like raven's wings. They remember the woman stiffening, her head flung back, pale throat exposed like a prayer, obsidian light shooting from her eyes and mouth in radiant columns of shadow. They remember the sound of 1,000 birds cawing, flying, swooping. They remember darkness, wind, and immense pressure. And then Sprout hits the ground, unconscious, and they don't remember anything else at all. Meanwhile, Rev, wreathed in shimmering, swirling black light, the clearing of the nest growing dark as 1,000 birds flock overhead, blotting out the sunless sky with their multitudinous wings. The spiraling darkness lifts Rev into the air over the limp forms of the 4 keepers, over the tall, branch-stitched walls of the nest, and into the nest herself. And Rev is lowered gently to the ground, the wind whisking around her, whipping up dead leaves, twigs, fallen branches, cracked eggshells. This gleaming darkness peels away from her body, revealing a Rev reborn. White streaks shoot through her long black hair. The golden tattoos on her muscular arms begin to shimmer and move, feathers rippling across her skin as though they were alive. A cape of oil black feathers springs from her armor and sprawls to the ground. Rev opens her eyes, revealing one regular golden eye and one black eye, inky darkness covering every single part of it, including the sclera. And then the Raven Queen speaks. "O sorrowful darkness, reaper of wing and claw, a revenant with 2 names, traverser of the after, seek vengeance no more, bring death to ghosts and life to the living. Arise, my paragon." The darkness peeling off of Rev's body solidifies in front of her, forming a scythe with a curved silver blade and ebony handle. Rev knows what she has to do. She grabs the scythe and she gasps its name out loud. Grim. As Rev's fingers wrap around the scythe, A massive shockwave of energy explodes outward from the point of contact, an invisible wave of necromantic power. The wave sweeps across the nest, over the unconscious keepers, through the swampy woods surrounding the clearing. It sweeps past a moth on a branch, its wings shredded from some predator's beak, but unable to die because, of course, of the profane undeath. But as this wave makes contact, the moth shudders, trembles, and falls. And this wave continues, sweeping across the court, passing through animals and people alike, cleansing the undeath from the land. It reaches Shadecap, passing through the old woman on her porch, with Mosscrawler by her side. She gasps as it travels through her soul, then relaxes against her rocking chair, dying at last with a smile on her face. The wave travels over the pond, kicking up eddies and waves across the black tongue, rocking boats on the river, past the boiling creek, the snapping turtles, the quicksand, and finally, poof, this wave of divine necromantic energy hits the four of you. Oka, Manaya, Dewey, and V. And as this energy collides with the Bonebreaker's rig, the sail balloons wide, catching wind, and the chariot is pushed forward with a sudden gust. And you're rocketed down this woody, swampy path. Both Allie and Gator whinnying in terror and fluttering their Pegasi wings as they're borne along this gust. But V, you don't notice any of this at all, because you're at 0 HP. Instead, you find yourself in a room. A dark room, with no windows or walls or ceilings or floors. And standing at the far end of the room from you is Rev. Except she looks different. She's holding a huge scythe, and she's talking to someone. Someone you can't see. Someone with massive black wings and a whispering voice of birdsong. And you hear her whisper as you materialize in this room. Scott? Nectus? Make a death saving throw.
God. Oh, God. Okay, 17.
That's good. That's one.
Yeah.
Yay! First roll of the finale. You got a 17. Good job. Okay. So V, as you inch closer to life, you see Rev turn, like this cape swirling as her eye. It's a pure black eye, not the golden eyes you're used to, like meets your gaze, and a look of surprise on her face. And she just goes, "No, it's too soon for you." And it's like there's a tether in the back of your belly button wrenching you out of this room, and you gasp awake inside the rig. So now let's go through the rest of our PCs after that long spiel. Oka, Manaya, and Dewey. This huge poof wave just sort of hit you. You see V gasp to life. Why don't the three of you make an Arcana check for me to see if you can figure out what exactly that was? Because it wasn't just wind.
I think we might be able to intuit based on where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's not a super high DC because I figure y'all would be able to know what's
How's
going
a 7 though? How's a 7? Does that hit your super low DC? Okay. Oka doesn't know shit.
A 7, Oka, it feels like a very strong wind just hit the sail and suddenly you're moving, but there's something else in it. It's definitely magical, though I'm not sure you know exactly what the magic contains. Manaya, Dewey?
How's a 13?
13?
At 11.
11. Okay, both of you got similar results. Yeah, this definitely is a magical wind. It's not just a gust of air. And based on the fact that V suddenly jerks awake, all two of you specifically feel like the strings of the vanishing weave around you sort of slacken and then tighten as something is lifted, right? As the wind passes, something is lifted, something that you didn't even know was there, right? It's sort of like getting your wisdom teeth removed. You never really know how much of a nuisance they are until they're gone, that situation. Or taking off weights, that you've been carrying for weeks and weeks and suddenly feeling the load lighten. It's like both of you feel like a weight lift from your chests. And Dewey, you sort of we sort of have a feeling you know what just happened. Looking at V, looking around, profane undeath doesn't feel so profane anymore, and it doesn't feel like it's stifling you anymore. What do the three of you do?
I do believe Oka was about to be trampled by Pegasus horses. So as they feel the Pegasus horses on their tail, they are going to kind of like try to do a one-up on them, you know, just reach around the neck, like kick off and swing a leg over onto at least one of them.
Very cool. Okay, so make an athletics check for me to make sure you can get into the chariot. What do the rest of you do? V, you're gasping to life.
Dewey's gonna stumble over to V's side.
Okay, Dewey, you stumble over to V. V, you feel like the chariot rocking underneath you. You're looking up at like branches passing by, and you see like a little feathered face swim into view. What do you say?
Dewey, is that you? Rev? No, it's Dewey.
Was that your girlfriend?
I saw Rev in when I was knocked out. And V's like trying to like move, but is like severely like unable to move. Her body's just like not responding to her commands.
Okay. Okay, what did you get?
A handsome 14.
Okay, sounds good. So with a 14, you are able to do whatever maneuver you want back onto the chariot. And you see like V like swimming back to life and Dewey huddled over her. What do you do?
I think that the concentration of the adrenaline shot is probably lost if Dewey took damage in that blast. So Oka doesn't know that V just got like knocked out fully. She just looks like shit on the floor. So I think they're just kind of still amped a little bit, and they're like, all right, great. We're moving again. Hey, you look like shit. And they're going to kind of like slap V a little hard on the cheek and cast Healing Hands.
All right, how does that work?
I use an action to heal equal to my level. So we are
Sorry,
level...
can you speak directly into the mic?
Sure. I heal equal to my level with a touch. So as Oka slaps V, a little bit of light leaks into her body, and she regains 8. Are we 8 or 9? I can't read my own. Great. We're at you get 8 hit points back. You're welcome.
Oh my god! And V, like her body like springs to life a little more, and she can like start to sit up, but she's real messed up. She's like, thank you. Oh my gosh! Oh, are we winning?
Not yet, but we're fucking about to be.
Okay, Manaya, you've been pretty quiet during this. What are you doing?
Yeah, Manaya's in the back of the ship. And I think as soon as the wind like picks up as hard as it is, there's like a brief moment where she looks back and she's like, yeah. And then she like grabs the sheets in her hands and reaches for the steering oar, but we don't have a steering oar. So I guess she like uses that other hand to grab the sheets, I guess, and like get the sail angled so that we're just like going.
Yeah, y'all are going fast. So Manaya, why don't you make a sleight of hand check for me with advantage, given that you are a experienced sailor?
Cool.
As this is happening, I think Oka would be just... Oh, that face doesn't look good. Oka would just be helping the bone breakers up and doing anything with the Pegasus to help out to get us moving at full speed again.
Okay, yeah. As you turn to the bone breakers, Lore is like, "Whoa, what was that? Crazy wind coming out of nowhere!" But hey, the rapids are coming up. Everyone should brace. And it's about that time, Manaya. What did you get?
Use our collective inspiration.
Okay, we have 1 point of collective inspiration, bumping that back down to 0. Thanks for the subs, y'all.
Not about to take that 9. Okay, 11's a little better, but that's the best I can get.
11 is a little better. Yeah, you're able with an 11, and this gust of wind bearing you along, you're able to, this little rickety chariot, go in and like Allie and Gator whinnying and neighing, try to keep up with the chariot. You catch up to the slithering snakes. Right? Or rather snake in front of you. That huge, big, like multiple times bigger than the world's biggest anaconda just going. And you see like her brothers, as you found out last session, are like perched on her back, like gallop, like sitting on saddles or like standing like with like big bomb spears, like whooping. And they disappear into a thicket in front of you. But you're close behind. The bullets are nowhere in sight. They like have taken off. They definitely have the lead here. But as Laura says that, she goes, "All right, everybody, brace!" And the rig begins to charge forward toward this thicket, beyond which you can't really see anything, but why don't all of you make a perception check for me, please?
Nat 20.
Nat 20 from Anaya. Anyone else? Can anyone else beat that?
Close, I got an 18.
I got a 16.
All right, 18 from Dewey, 16 from Oka. V?
You're muted.
6, which feels on brand.
Yeah, V, let's say you're still sputtering and coughing at the bottom of the rig. Manaya, what does it look like as you're like scouting ahead? Do you have like one like foot propped up on like the prow of the chariot, like looking at the thicket? Like paint a word picture for me.
So Manaya's still at the back, pulling the sheets. And I think with how strong and how sudden the wind is, she's braced like her feet up against, just like at the deck of the ship. And I don't think maybe she sees it, but maybe she smells it.
Oh, yeah. You smell it and you hear it. The smell of seawater, salt water that had sort of been here, for a little bit, suddenly gets very strong, right? As you approach this thicket of trees. And you hear like a distant roar that gets rapidly louder, like the roar of rushing water, which could be like waves breaking against like rocks, right? Or like the sound of like tides or something. But it's very loud. It's like much louder than the regular ocean is. And Dewey, with your 18, you can sort of glimpse beyond like gaps in the thickets of like branches and twisting vines. You see the ocean. But it's kind of far away. Still, in a way that doesn't really make sense. And as the chariot breaks through the thicket, all of you see now, except for V, who's I think still prone, you're headed for the edge of a cliff. Where a huge waterfall is spilling directly into the boundary waters, which are some couple dozen, maybe even 100 feet down, like a straight plummet down. And the snake, the snake goes whoop, and like whoop, like over the edge of the waterfall, and like all the guys go ah! And you don't hear impact over the roar of the waterfall, what Lore had called the rapids.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
I told you this was a straight shot to the boundary waters, to the finish line. Okay, what did the four of you do as you're hurtling toward the edge of this waterfall?
V, the Pegasi.
V gets up.
Not V. Oka, the Pegasi.
The Pegasi are gonna fucking help us. We're gonna swing bottom heavy.
Keep us level. They'll keep us heavy with this wind. We should be able to stay level. Just keep them angled with the ship.
Oka gets shoves Scrum off as well, and takes the reins up again.
Hey, watch it! Says the goblin, but you're able to easily shove him, and I think his butt lands on V's face as he rolls backward, because it's rather cramped quarters back here. A little bit of a Three Stooges moment here, and Oka, as you grab the reins of Allie and Gator, roll animal handling for me. A lot of animal handling checks.
It landed on me, but it was a natural 19 plus 2, so 21.
All right, fine. I'll let you do it. So how are you handling Allie and Gator as you begin to hurtle over the edge?
Oh, I know. Oka can fly. Oka has wings and knows how to fly. They've done things like jump off of things that were way too tall and let themselves free fall for a minute and then let their wings out in campaign. So they are using their own knowledge of flight. And that time that they carried Manaya around, and I'm sure there have been some off-screen moments of Oka trying to fly around with people because that would be fun. To like try to distribute the weight so that they like don't drop like this and swing underneath, but like just kind of like literally just sail off at a more direct angle.
Yeah, and Manaya is definitely manipulating the sails so that it aids in that, taking full advantage of the wind.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so Oka, here it goes. There's like a slow-mo like da da as like Allie and Gator like soar over the edge of this like roaring waterfall, and I think there's like a moment as like all of you are like, you know, like we see like Lore like kicking and flailing with her like arms going slow-mo, like Scrum like fall and like fly through the air, and like Quailheart grabbing Scrum's legs and pulling him back down so he doesn't like fall out of the chariot, and then the back wheels like skid off of the water and into the air, and Allie and Gator unleash their Pegasi feathered wings, and they flap and they flap and they kick and they run and they paw through air. And Oka, you're pulling on the reins, you're shouting at them, you're trying to use your anatomy to help. Manaya, you're grabbing onto the sail and you're flapping it. And you see, all of you look down now, and you can see that this waterfall is like at least 100 feet in the air, and it plummets straight down into the boundary waters. And on the horizon, Manaya, you see it first, followed by Dewey, given your previous perception scores. The Raven's Eye. You can see it from here. It's maybe 3 to 5 miles off the coast. And it's a huge, swirling whirlpool, right? Like there's clouds overhead, and the clouds all like seem to swirl like above the Raven's Eye as well. And you don't really see a finish line, but from your vantage point, if there was one, it would still be pretty far off, and given its size, you probably wouldn't be able to see it from here. But that's all you could really glimpse of the Raven's Eye as the chariot begins to fall. And Allie and Gator flap and flap and flap, and there's a very odd moment as they're able to keep it stable, right? But the chariot is still going to kind of swing underneath it. So your plan was for them to dive, Oka?
Not really. To try to make make the angle less not a dive and more of like and using the sail also to just kind of like pick it up. And I know it'll be heavy, so it'll be a little bit more steep than we want normally, but ideally to like kind of like paper airplane it so that like, you know, we're not like, because the back of planes are really heavy, but they can go downward, you know, with if that's the attempt here. Trying not to let it swing out underneath us. And if it does start to swing out, then to drive them a little bit steeper downward so that our weight is still up and in the back.
All right. As Allie and Gator start flying down like a paper airplane method, like you said, I need all of you to make a dex saving throw.
Oh dear.
17.
14.
18.
6.
Sorry, 18. Dewey can fly. It's fine.
Apparently not.
Okay, so 17 from V, 18 from Manaya, 6 from Dewey, and what from Oka?
Oka had the 8.
I'm sorry, what did V
Manaya
get?
had the 14.
Okay, so Manaya 14, Oka 8?
18.
Okay, Manaya 14, Oka 18, V?
17.
17, Dewey 6? Okay, Dewey, you fall out of the chariot. You fly
No, I'm
out.
wearing a harness. I'm still wearing the harness that I tied myself into.
Can you remind me what you strapped yourself to?
It's probably just the base of the mast.
Okay, yeah, you go flying out almost
tied
like a bungee cord, right? But like at its like maximum extension, you poof, and you start like falling back in. But you see Scrum like sail past you, right? And he's like, ah! He's like shouting and flailing his limbs, and Quailheart goes, Scrum! Like in like it's not slow motion, but he's saying it in slow motion. So Dewey, do you want to try to save Scrum?
I reach out for Scrum, yeah.
Okay, make a not stealth, sleight of hand check.
Make a stealth check, just for fun.
Ooh, that's a 23.
23. Wow. Okay, yeah. Dewey, describe to me how you save Scrum's life.
I see Scrum starting to sail past me, and I'm like undoing the knots as quickly as I can. And I've got one hand on the rope still, and then the other one I let my body fall out behind it a little bit, and then I grab for Scrum's wrist, let's say.
You grab Scrum's wrist. He's really sweaty, and you pull him back in, and he just, and there's like a moment as you've like pulled him back in, and the wind's rushing, and you hear the roar of the waterfall, and it's like spraying you with like it's saltwater spray. And Scrum opens his like big green goblin eyes, and his like ears are like pressed flat against his skull, and like a little bit of like his like black hair like gets in his eyes, and he like brushes it out of his face, and he looks up at you, and he says, "Wow, you saved me. You saved my life. I owe you a blood debt, Dewey. I owe you one."
Dewey's just screaming. I can't hear him. I'm just like, ah!
Oka tries to scream back at Dewey to open his wings, because like how parasails can sometimes have littler parasails. Oka's your fucking wings, Dewey!
I can't hear you. I'm screaming.
Right, it's just chaos and screaming, and the surface of the water, there's like huge frothing, like where the waterfall hits the boundary waters. Right, you see like rocky cliffs jutting out. You can see a bunch of like jagged rocks at the bottom too. As Allie and Gator are trying their best to like fly and paw and hoof their way away from the rocks, but it's not looking great. So Manaya, Oka, you've already gone to try to like help out here. Manaya, you look like you have an idea.
We built the mast to be able to fold back down, right?
Yes, you did.
So we get under the trees, right? Manaya, I think she's holding the sheets, which are the ropes that control the sail. And I think she's going to try to slide forward and like kick the mechanism so the mast falls down. And in kicking it, pull her back so that she's holding the top of the mast at the back of the boat. So the sail is like catches the wind.
Like a parachute, kind of?
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Okay. Make an athletics check for me to see if you accomplish that.
Oh, the 16 out of 10. 22.
All right, with a 22, all of you see like Manaya like dive toward the mast, kick it, it folds in, and then she grabs onto the ropes, and she's like literally parasailing on the back, like off. Are you like out of the chariot due to how this is maneuvering?
No. I'm like, the sheets are attached to the boat, so she's like braced herself on the boat, holding the mast down so that the ship can
have a gentle descent. I like that a lot. Yeah, why don't you?
Inspiration!
Awesome. Yes. Take a point of inspiration there, Manaya, because that was awesome. That was truly fantastic. And let me pop that up for you. There we go. So yeah, all of you feel like the wind like, as it like balloons open the sail that like Manaya is keeping strapped down and she's braced inside the chariot. And yeah, it's an odd moment because both of you hear the horses go, "Ah!" As they're like jerked backward a bit by this like wind resistance, and the chariot like groans and creaks and begins to slow down, right? And the pegs like flap, and you can see like you're slowly like you slow down. You're still not slow, but you're slower, and like the trajectory you're no longer gonna hit the rocks, right? You're getting clear of like where the waterfall meets the water, but there's something else. Dewey, you hear it first because you're strapped into the mast. Given you're about like halfway down at this point, given everything that's happened, the bending of the mast, Manaya pulling onto the ropes, you hear a creak and a groan, and you hear like some wood begin to like that. It's like we like zoom in on like one of the ropes like holding the mast together, and it's like it's like ripping apart, like in like a Superman movie or something. And you also like see like the grain of the mast like splinter a little, like trying to like keep the sail attached, but there's so much wind resistance. Oka and Manaya, you both have already kind of gone. Dewey, V, what's the play here?
V's gonna see that this cracking is beginning to happen. I mean, God, I think the only thing I can really possibly do is try to like ice it over for reinforcement, especially on the the side it's cracking towards. So I think I'll just cast some Ray of Frost on it as much as I can.
Okay, so why don't you roll a dexterity sleight of hand check to see how well you can maneuver the Ray of Frost over it.
So Dex plus sleight of hand. Does a 25 work?
What the fuck is up with y'all's rolls? Scruffus donated
No.
their hard-working money to get us an auto crit, and y'all are not even gonna let them be able to use it.
The sleight of hand is literally a 7.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't have asked for that. Anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll let you add your proficiency bonus. Yeah. So what does it look like as you're like icing this cracking mass and the ropes over?
Yeah, so she's finally like a little bit coming to her mind. She hears the snapping. She sort of leaps a very dramatic leap to the other side and just like takes her diamond palm and just boom and just like is letting it go, just like a constant stream of Ray of Frost onto the mast
I love
or
that.
onto the stand.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's like a Frozone moment as like beams of like ice like shoot out of your palm and it hits the mast. And right as the mast, like before the mast like cracks like in a big way, you seal the crack like with ice crystals that like balloon out, and jut and form more crystals and like hold it tight, right? And as ice cracks under the pressure, you seal more ice on, right? And like little bits of like ice crystals like fly back and like little eddies of snow whip like Manaya's face, and like Oka a little bit, and like Dewey, you get some like frost on your feathers as like V like ices this thing over. And yeah, that's enough to hold it. But there's one more challenge, which is hitting the water. Because Allie and Gator are doing, bless their horse hearts, they are doing their damnedest to keep this rig afloat. But there's gonna be at least a little bit of impact when they're probably going to be okay. They're probably going to be able to skim right above the water, but the rig at least is going to hit the water. And there's definitely going to be like, if you're going at this velocity, even with like all the great rolls you've done, the rig's going to take like a good amount of damage. And y'all also might take a little bit of damage from hitting it so hard. So Dewey, do you have any tricks up your sleeve to soften the landing or soften the blow?
I have rope trick. That is the one trick I have up my sleeve.
Okay, get
And
out
so
of here
I'm
with the dad jokes, Dewey. Negative inspiration. I'm docking an inspiration.
I'm gonna toss that like metal ring that I've had up into the air, and I can't save the ship at this point. But I'm sure as hell gonna like back into everyone to be like, get in here. I'm not gonna be on the ship when it hits the water.
So to
so
like
he's
make sure
climbing up into-
everyone's inside it, the ship hits and
Yeah.
then drop back onto the ship.
I can't save the ship.
Okay, yeah, the ship's gonna take some damage, but your lives are more important, right? So okay, Dewey, as you're falling, what does it look like as you cast a rope trick?
I toss the metal ring into the air. It opens up. A rope drops out, midair basically, and I'm just clambering up there, and I'm gesturing wildly at anyone who can see me, like, get in here, and then I disappear.
Awesome. I'm assuming it's like a little halo traveling like with the ship. We talked about this like during like episode 2 or 3 of like arc 2 when you were like fighting that, like running from that monster. And I think we agree that it travels with the vehicle. So all of you see like the rope drop out, a pocket dimension open, Dewey climbs up in there, little bits of like scared feathers like float down like after him. What do the rest of you do?
Manaya, do you think you could hold the end up from that rope? Like if you like hang on to the back of it, like with your absolute grip strength that you must have, and hold on to the rope, and one hand on the back of the boat so that it's just a little bit less impact. Would that work?
So what I'll say about that is it could work, but the DC for that strength check, Manaya, is pretty monstrous. You do have an auto crit on the table, though.
Makes eyes emoji at the auto crit.
So Allie and Gator are like at this point like trying to pull us away from the cliffside, right?
Yes, they've successfully maneuvered, so you will not dash against the rocks, right? But you're still going to impact with like regular water. From like a height of 100 feet is going to be pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yes, V.
V is gonna pull out 50 feet of rope. I don't think she used once. And she's like, we can use this to tie on and drop it into the hole here.
Drop what into the hole?
The extra rope so we can hold on to it while inside of safety.
That's not a bad idea. Oka
you
starts
do.
tying as much of the rope to the back, to the back of the rig as possible, and then like lifting it up towards the hole, towards Dewey.
You're gonna wreck my contraption.
You can build another one.
And V very quickly, seeing where she's at health-wise, get me into hole, and climbs in.
I love that. Yeah, V, you clamber into the hole successfully. Dewey's up there with you. It's like a tiny little cube, right? Like an invisible cube is my assumption, like pocket dimension. And everywhere is like, Dewey, what does it look like? You've described it before, but refresh our memories. What does the inside of this pocket dimension resemble?
I think it actually just looks like you're kind of floating in midair, just above like a little metal circle. But you're suspended and not like literally in midair.
Cool. And other people
can
can't
see
see you, right? People outside the cube can't see you. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, V, you can see like the wind like rushing up above you, but there's like a weird solidity underneath your feet. Manaya, Oka, what's the play?
I don't think Oka is going to get in the hole quite yet. They like lift Scrum, by his feet up into it. And then they take up the reins for Allie and Gator again. And as we get down, because Manaya still has to hold the parasail or else it's not going to work anymore, eh? So again, Oka knows how to fly. And when you are coming down for a landing, you don't just like, you turn up, you go feet first.
I'm sorry, C, can you like keep your mouth consistent to the mic? Because it's kind of hard to hear you as you go in and out.
I'm sorry, this is just a new mic. Yes. Oka is going to look back at Manaya and be like, as we get close, we're gonna flip a minute. Not like actually flip, but we're gonna tilt backward. And as we get close to the water, like lower and lower and lower, Oka is gonna like pull Allie and like pull them up, and basically ask for their like just wings to unfurl, no more flapping, and just the whole rig is gonna like slip down, and hopefully kind of brace like an airplane going down, like butt first, basically.
Sure. So Oka, are you in the hole at this point?
No, Oka is driving because someone has to drive Allie and Gator.
And Manaya, you're also not in the hole, right?
Something I want to do. I'm not in the hole, but I have something I want to do.
All right. So Oka, you do that. Manaya, what do you do?
Manaya has one spell slot left because warlocks don't get any spell slots because D&D is horrible. Fuck Wizards of the Coast. So she's going to use her last spell slot to cast Armor of Agathis, but I don't think Agathis exists in this world, so I'm going to flavor it to...
Is it ice? Maybe Nebuza?
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
like Nebuza's thread or armor or something. I don't know. Which covers me in like a layer of frost, which I'm hoping to use to basically anchor myself to the mast, the ropes, and the ship. So that even if I'm not strong enough to like hold it, because as we get closer to the water and the angle changes, there's going to be a lot more force on the mast, and Manaya's job is to angle the sail to be as efficient as possible. And she's not braced against the ship right now, so.
All right.
And hopefully it won't swing out from underneath us because the back of the ship is tied with those ropes up into the little special hole.
Sure. Okay. So Oka, as you scramble into the hole, as you stay by the rig, controlling like Allie and Gator, like Lore and Quailheart scramble up into the hole next to Scrum, Dewey, and V. And Manaya, what does Armor of Nebuza look like?
So I think Manaya's the specks of gold and green in her eyes like flash a little bit, and a few leaves swirl around her, and I think if you like really want to get like zoom in, the leaves go from green to like a fall color to like a summer, like a winter, where like the frost starts covering them as they sort of like form not like a full layer of armor, but like all over Manaya are just like these frosty magical leaves.
Yeah, sure. Like leaves of frost, like paper all over your body, like forming like a armor, and it basically like straps you in to where you are. So, can you read out the text of Armor of Agathis for me? Yeah. Armor of Nibuza.
Armor of Nibuza. A protectical. What the fuck?
Oh, it's a protective icicle.
Protective magical force surrounds you, manifesting as a spectral frost that covers you and your gear. You gain 5 temporary hit points for the duration, which is an hour. If a creature hits you with a melee attack, while you have these hit points, the creature takes 5 cold damage.
All right. Okay, this is what happens, y'all. Given all the choices you've made in the fiction, Oka and Manaya, I need the two of you to make a Constitution saving throw as you hit the water.
Using my inspiration.
Okay,
17
great.
for me.
All right, 17 from Oka. After your inspiration, Manaya, what'd you get?
17.
Both of you get a 17. Okay, so you're only going to take half damage. Manaya, you are also going to reduce the damage by a further 5 points because of your armor. So you are both going to take... I'm just going to use a dice roller app at this point. It doesn't roll numbers that high. Okay, then in that case, I'll just round it to...
Get ready to die.
Okay, halved would be 11 points of bludgeoning damage. So you only take 6, I think, Manaya. So, okay, you take 11 points of bludgeoning damage, and the rig is going to take the full 22 points of damage. And the two of you hear a horrible crack and rending noise and snapping noise as you see like skittering like across the water like a skipped stone, like a wheel. Like has like fallen off of the rig, and like the back part of the rig is like smashed, and like off to the left like another wheel. So it's missing 2 wheels, like the front left and the bottom right, which is okay because it's now in the water and you don't necessarily need wheels anymore. But it is still pretty fucked up. And as you look around, like there's like a huge hole, like a cracked hole has opened in like the bottom of the rig, and water is beginning to come in and like starting to fill the rig fast, right? So the rest of you who are in the hole, you're fine. It was just kind of like a vertigo moment as you also like brace and hit the ground, the quote unquote ground, but you're fine. You don't take any damage at all. Alligator, Winnie, and they begin to run/fly off to like that swirling, like maybe 3 or 5 miles away, Raven's Eye in the distance. So what do all of you do given this information? Actually, this might be a good place to take a bio break. And our 10-minute break. So yeah, as we leave off on the break with the the shattered remains of the rig that's like still somehow intact. It's like a Looney Tunes like cartoon where they're just like riding on a single wheel. Even though like the rest of the car is peeled away. And our friends V and Dewey and the rest of the Bonebreakers like perched up in this like interdimensional pocket looking down at this rope dropped, above where Manaya, like I think your ice is like cracked from the landing and it's like shielded you a lot from the damage. And Oka, you're just like there with maybe it's like some wood splinters like in your hair, like sticking out. And like you're a bit bruised and banged up from the landing. And on that image, we will take a 10-minute break. We will be back. We love you all. This, because I'm using C's computer to stream, my fan art reel is old, so enjoy some deep cuts. Transplanar fan art. We'll be back in 10. We love you so much. Thank you so much for the support so far, and peace.
If I go fast instead of slowly, instead of last, if my father survives me, if I explode, if I go up in smoke, if I go quietly, when I go quiet, give my heart to my mother, she'll know what to do. Give my songs to my lover, she'll know what to do. Give my bones to my father, my poems to my sister, my love to one another. Give it all to each other. And I suppose the soul can go to the children. I suppose the trash can go to the museum. I suppose the dreams can go in the casket. I suppose the blood will go where you ask it. Will go where you ask it. Will spill where you ask it. Will spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I was once the tree, and I was the paper. I was the hair, and I was the razor. I was the leg, I was the table. I was the cloth, and I was the indigo, 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 and I was a color girl, 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 and I was a color girl. Doom did. It's the blue light when we're out with our friends. roll a fat one, pour the shots, give this dead all you've got. Let the liquor loosen your mouth, make a bow with friendly tongues. Call your lover, say you're sorry, then go back to making fun. Your friends are drunk and useless. Welcome to senior year. The night is young and ruthless, and you want to disappear in the hallway, in the hall, in the hallway, in the hall. You can hear them all around you, broken hearts and blushing sighs. Truth's a hard pill to swallow, but it'll still get you high. I know a faraway land, hidden from even the moon, somewhere queer and quiet, a place you can lick your wounds. In the hallway, in the hall, in the hallway, in the hall. Twilight zone, a place to be alone, or highway cutting through the noise in bedrooms, chamber of secrets. Come close and lean in, tell them. But if you tell them now, with your words or with your mouth, you should know it's now or never. You can't stay here forever. In the hallway, in the hall, 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 in the hallway, can't stay in the hall, you can't stay in the hallway, can't stay in the hall, you can't stay, you can't stay here, you can't stay, you can't stay here, you can't stay, you can't stay here, you can't stay, you can't stay here. Doom de doom 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 de doom doom if I go fast instead of slowly, instead of last, if my father survives me, if I explode, if I go up in smoke, if I go quietly, when I go quiet, give my heart to my mother. She'll know what to do. Give my songs to my lover. She'll know what to do. Give my bones to my father. My poems to my sister. My love to one another. Give it all to each other. And I suppose the soul can go to the children. I suppose the trash can go to the museum. I suppose the dreams can go in the casket. I suppose the blood will go where you ask it. Will go where you ask it. Will spill where you ask it. Will spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill where you ask. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill. I'll spill.
Hello, 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 everybody. It's so good to see all of your non-existent digital faces in the chat yet again. Thank you for sticking around for our 10-minute break. We are back from the break now. Just as a reminder, as we jump back into the session, these are the content warnings. Water terror, as in ocean terror, guns, giant spiders, giant snakes, addiction, memory loss, body horror, gore, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. So you can access those content warnings at any time in the chat using !CW. Please don't feel shy about using them. Take care of yourself the best way you can. This is probably going to be a pretty intense finale. So let's hop right back into it with the rig colliding with the boundary waters, the surface of the boundary waters. Poof! There is an explosion of water. Yeah, as all of you are rocked. Wood splinters, right? And flies into the air, kicking up. Bits of sea foam splash against Oka and against Manaya's face. And Manaya, as the armor of Neat Buza cracks all over your body and splinters and explodes outward, I think you lose consciousness for like half a second, right? Because this is like an intense impact. And as your eyes sort of roll back in your head and like you see darkness, we cut now to the open ocean. Just like where we are, but in a completely different part of Andake. And instead of being on top of a shitty little rig, we are on a handsome merchant ship. Manaya, your mother, Kahealani, stands in the middle of the main deck. Her sleeves are rolled up all the way to her elbows, revealing intricate tattoos that are etched from her wrists all the way up to her elbows. This is one of those particularly hot days in the kingdom of Uhanahi, where even your mother, your sun-weathered mother, feels like, well, it might make sense to remove a few layers at this point. And your mother, tell me, Manaya, what is she doing?
One of her crew members has fucked up some of the ropes that are tied like to the mast, and she's rolling up her sleeves not only to keep a little bit cooler, but to prepare to basically like plunge her arm in and try to undo this giant mess of knots.
Yeah, as your mother's standing there, like her hands now propped at her hips, your eyes are drawn to the tattoos etched on her forearms. Which tattoo in particular calls to you?
I think because she's facing away, Manaya catches um, a tattoo of a bone. Not like a skull and crossbones, just a small bone.
Yeah. For some reason, it's not the most flashy of the tattoos that are exposed, but for some reason, that's the one you feel interested in. And as your mom sort of lets out a, she lowers her hands into the mess of knots, and like you can see like her muscles like tightening underneath her skin as she begins to like unknot this mess. You can like smell like the brine as these like wet ropes like slap the ground, and like they roll off, and they've got like algae and little bits of gunk like attached to the thread. And after a few moments of working, your mom seems to sense your eyes on her, and Kahailani turns, and a eye falls upon you. A brown eye falls upon you. She says, "What is it, Manaya? What are you looking at?"
No, nothing.
Never seen a mess of ropes before? Come on. You're a sailor's daughter. You should know better.
Well, yeah, and that one goes there, and what is that one?
That one attaches to the mast. See, we feed it through all these little brackets that go all the way up. And what's this one do, Manaya? Come on, I quizzed you on this last week.
That's the shroud. That one is supposed to be over there.
Yep, but it's all the way over here. She lets out a sigh and she begins walking the shroud over to its proper location.
Mother?
Yes, dear?
I know you don't like to talk about it, but what does the bone tattoo mean?
There's a pause. You can't really see her face because her back is to you, but she does like freeze for like half a second before like continuing like her work with the ropes. Has Nolly been feeding you crazy bedtime stories again? Or is it the crew? Which one of them?
No, I don't know. I've seen it every day for months now, and I know you don't want to talk about what happened before I was born, but what did happen?
Your mother lets out a deep sigh. She lowers the ropes, turns to you, and beckons for you to sit down on a crate nearby. She sits down next to you, and she looks out over the ocean as the ship is like bobbing in the waves. I think it's like docked at like a harbor. And you can hear the cawing of seagulls overhead, and in the distance you can see the volcanoes of Uhanahi. She says, "Manaya, a long, long time ago, your mother was someone different. Someone that I don't know you would have recognized if you met her back then. But that's the thing about youth. You get the opportunity to be someone that, well, looking back on it 20, 30, 40 years, you laugh at yourself. Man, what was I thinking?" She lets out almost like a wistful sigh. And then she lifts her arm again and like indicates the bone. That there's a femur. Know what a femur is?
No?
It's the hardiest bone in your body, right here. And she pats your thigh.
Wow.
It's the hardest bone to break. But if it does break, it's also the hardest one to mend. All of these tattoos, and she like sort of like turns her wrists, like looking at, there's like a bone, like there's like a little like maybe like a flying bird, like on like another hand, on the back of another wrist. You also see like a snake that's sort of like coiled around like her right arm. You also see like like gems, it seems, but they're all like in black and white. So it's like hard to tell like what color or cut they would have been. All of these tattoos mean something. They used to, anyway. You know how, you remember how when you were 5, you got really into collecting rocks, Manaya? You just...
Right.
You'd put them everywhere in the house. You'd hide them. You'd give them names.
I thought they were so pretty.
And they still are. I still have a couple that you gave me. I'm sorry, I didn't keep them all. There were quite a lot of rocks. But,
Father said we had to take them down.
Well, yes. Napua has his logic on certain days. You liked collecting rocks. I liked collecting trophies. And then she lowers her arms. They all have names too, or they used to.
You mean like gems?
She like pats you on the back. Yes, Manaya, yes, like gems. Glittery gems I collected all across the oceans.
Wow. You must have gone everywhere.
Everywhere a sailor could sail, certainly. Of course, I avoided dangerous zones. You know, sometimes the northern seas get those frigid blizzards, and of course, the Raven's Eye and the boundary waters. Other than that, your old woman went pretty much everywhere. I've got tales too. Don't let Nolly trick you into thinking she's the only weaver out there.
Well, don't tell her I said this, but your stories are the best.
Atta girl. And she like holds up like a hand for you to high five.
Yeah.
And as your hand like meets your mom's hand, like it's like ridiculously like comically undersized because her hand's so huge and your hand's so small. Does that feel like a good image to end the flashback on? So Manaya, on the sound of your hand meeting your mother's hand, you like jerk back like to reality, and like you're there's like a little bit of like a ringing noise in your ears, and then you realize it's not a ringing noise, it's a rushing noise from all the water of the waterfall like behind you, and you're still like bobbing up and down in almost like a nauseating way, like on the rig, looking around. You see like the poof, poof, like the flapping wings of the Pegasi. You see that rope like coming down, and your skin feels a little chilly from the armor of Nitbusa, and you're no longer that young girl anymore. You're Manaya. You're all grown up now, and your mom needs your help.
Maybe the hand feeling is Oka like kind of leaning over Manaya, being like, Manaya! Manaya! I can't fucking sail this thing! Get up!
Yeah, Manaya, you hear that. What do you do?
Manaya's eyes blink open and she goes, "What, Mother, where did you get the jet?
What?
Oh, right, Oka, the ship. We need to get the master. Can you help me?"
Oka will help Manaya lift the mast.
All right, and at this point, Dewey and V, y'all are safe. Like, you can return to the rig now. No more DM tricks, I promise. Like, you have weathered this part of the storm. And you see, like, I think actually Lore pushes, like, past you, Dewey, and she, like, scrambles down the rope. She goes, okay. Wow, that was fun. We should do that again sometime, right, guys?
Oka flicks her on the back of the head as they pass and go back toward the Pegasi.
Owie! And she like rubs the back of her head like really hard. She talks to you, Oka. Hey! There's still one charge left, right? Hand it over.
What? For why?
Well, you've had your fun with it, and you know I gotta thank you for getting us to this point in one piece. But hey, finders keepers, right? I found it first, and we're almost at the Raven's Eye anyway. I don't want you to mess it up.
I'm not gonna mess it up. If there's only one charge left, then it doesn't matter.
Fine. I'm keeping my eye on you. Drow, double pupil, short hair, buzz cut.
Okay, well, I'm keeping both of my pupils on you. Twice as many.
You mean all 4 of them? Can you even count? 1, 2, 3,
Hey.
4, 6.
Hey, you two, and the rest of you.
Okay.
He climbs out of the hole.
Okay, fine.
We're just
Scrum,
tumbling out of it.
Quail, QH, come on down. And Scrum and Quailheart also like fall out of the hole. Go ahead, Manaya.
Yeah, as the mast is being put up, Manaya steps back and she goes, "All right, everyone, we're on the water now. And I can guarantee that my experience on the water is more than all of y'all's combined, so listen up. Right, first, we're being waterlogged. We need to get that fixed as soon as we can before we even start moving. So, let's go. Hop to it.
All right, you heard her. That's right. We're getting waterlogged. I've got more experience doing this than the rest of you combined. You tell him, big gun. Laura's like puffing up next to you like you're second in command. And Scrum and Quailheart start like scooping water out with like bits of scrap like buckets.
I'm gonna like slap her on the back of the head and be like,
She like falls flat like on her face. So there's a little bit of like, it's not like people are gonna start attacking you. You know, there's a little bit of like free time that you get like before you arrive to the Raven's Eye, and you can sort of see maybe like a 500 feet in front of you. You can sort of see like the big snake like swimming through the water. Yes, okay.
I would like to contest that. Given the fact that they literally fell down off the waterfall, and if we went at an angle, we would have had literally so much of a lead in front of them. We should be, if not first, at least right behind the Bulettes. That's my take.
Yeah, we would have
You know
preserved
what?
our
You know what?
horizontal
Fine.
velocity.
Fine, I'll allow it. I'll allow it, see. Yeah, that makes sense. You guys made a lot of smart choices. So yeah, let's say the snakes are like behind y'all. You could hear them like in the distance being like, "No, big sis, come on, you gotta keep going." But the snakes like sort of thrashing in like in the water, but they're fine. They're just sort of like being silly. So 500 feet in front of you instead of the snake is that armored tank. And you can sort of see like, you don't even see them. They're just like huge motors in front, like the Bulettes that had been like biologically engineered or like bred somehow to have those gills, and they're like motoring through the water at like a rapid pace. But y'all are pretty close behind, and Allie and Gator are doing their best to fly and like pull you along the water. So what do the four of you do as you get closer and closer to the Raven's Eye?
"Is the ship repaired at this point?"
It's actually that's a good point. It's not. It's kind of fucked up. I will say the NPCs, so Scrum, Lore, and Quailheart have scooped all the water out, but there's still that hole. So it's sort of like scoop water. They're like, they don't realize that they have to repair the hole. But you have 2 pieces of scrap left, and you're probably gonna need both of them to like get this ship back in working order. So Dewey, because you're our artificer here, would you like to try to use a piece of scrap to repair the hole, and then a piece of scrap to repair the rest of the rig?
Yeah, I think one to close up the hole and one to maybe reinforce the mast again because it's splitting.
Sounds good. So just make a general tool check for me. So roll Dex with add your tool proficiency.
16.
16. Okay, yeah. That is just a regular success. So you're down to no more scrap left in the ship, but you're able to patch up the hole and like make sure that the rest of the rig is structurally sound. So while Dewey is like hammering away, what did the rest of you do?
Right. Gather around.
Oh, we gather round.
I'm gathered.
Right, we've got maybe 3 3/4 miles to the Raven's Eye. Here's the plan. Shit, I had this all planned out last night. Damn it. Okay, you drive the Pegasi. You know the animals the best. Keep them off the water, just going straight forward. I've got the sheets, and when I call it out, listen for my call-outs for which way to turn, but don't expect the Pegasi to do much. The wind will do much more than they could ever do. Dewey, how good are you with ropes? Knots?
Possible.
Right, the front shroud. needs to be tied well and tight. The mast falls backwards, and so if that one falls, the mast falls on me, and then you don't have me. Right. Quail Hot.
Yes.
You and Scrum are on port side. That's that one, right?
Just say left or right. Why do you have to say port? Starboard.
You and Scrum are on the port side. If anyone tries to get us from there,
Peck them to death, understood.
right. Law, what do we have for weaponry?
We got a fishhook. I got a spear. I got a blow dart. And I have a spoon.
Hey, Manaya, you said that we didn't really need the Pegasuses anymore.
They'll help. What do you need?
I can get them off our tail if you give me one.
Fine, but do we all need a steering oar if we don't have Pegasi to help steer?
I get.
V, starboard side, you are ranged caster. If anyone tries to come up on the right side, I need meteors and I need fireballs at a moment's notice. Can you do that?
V casts meteors to have 6 swirling around her. Got it.
Right, Law, you're with me. If any of the shrouds, or if any of the sheets or shrouds come loose, I'll direct you to retie them. Otherwise, I don't know. Give me that javelin, and you have the darts and the hook.
Here you go. Got it. If the ropes are tight, make them loose.
If the ropes are loose, make them tight.
Yeah, that's what I said.
If the mast falls, we're dead in the water.
So don't
Do you
let the mast
understand?
fall. Keep the mast up no matter what.
Sure.
All right. I'm ready.
Quailheart, one more thing.
Yes.
You can fly.
Yes.
Right. Take this rope.
Okay.
Hold on to it tight. This is the rope that controls the yardarm. See that curved piece of wood that's at the top of the mast comes back here?
Yeah.
This rope controls how high and low that is.
Okay.
If the rope snaps, you will
Sure.
have to manually fly up and tie up the sail.
Okay.
Right? All right, now just tie it up over here, and if I need you, I'll call for you. Otherwise, port side.
Can Dewey come with me? Dewey's
Dewey-
doing the no.
Dewey's like, no. Unfortunately, Dewey's getting me that steering oar.
Okay. I guess I understand. And he slumps off to where you directed him. All right.
Right. Let's do this.
Okay. So we get awesome shot of the rig going across the ocean, the Pegasi winning and flapping their wings, pawing over the surface of and the water plowing upward from the outside of the rig and from an aerial shot we see that flying eyeball and we hear the commentators go, and wow, here they are, the top 3 contenders getting closer and closer to the Raven's Eye. We've got the Black Horse, we've got Spider, and of course Bulette Storm. Oh, looks like Spider's going to be engaging the Dark Horse. And as we zoom in, we see, all of you see now as well, sort of coming up on your right where V is, that huge mechanical spider gliding on top of the water. Sort of like a water bug, right? And it's sort of skating. You see the gnome inside the abdomen is he's cackling even from 500 feet off. You can hear him. And the spider, its head boom, turns to you and locks on as it begins to skate toward you. What did the 4 of you do? Yes, Oka.
Oka is taking a Pegasus. They probably have gotten ready to do this while Manaya was giving the rest of her instructions. Insofar as they pulled, Gator back, I think, and has made their way onto Gator's back, and is about to unhook themselves from the harness to be able to move forward independently.
I think you do that. You don't unhook Gator or Allie, right? They're continuing to go.
No,
Okay.
I am. That's what I just said. I am unhooking Gator from the rig to fly on my own.
Oh, so you can fly on Gator? Yeah. Okay. But the bridle's still on, right? Or do you take the
It
bridle
doesn't-
off?
It doesn't have to be. I'm just unhooking the basically the thing that runs to the mast.
Sure, you're detaching Gator, but this is important. I need to know, does Oka take the bridle off?
No, they don't.
Okay, great. So you hop on Gator as regular, and like the part of the mechanism connecting Gator to the rig like drops in, like gets like lifted like back into the rig, so it doesn't just like trail in the water. And Gator lets out a and like flaps and like awaits your commands, Oka.
Here's my plan. Here's my game plan. Oka is going to fly forward now that there is no, like, they're not attached to the rig anymore. Gator should have a greater breadth of movement, so they are going to charge forward to the bulettes. Oka's going to try to get the bulettes' attention and turn them around towards the spider.
Sounds good. So let's say, Oka, you take off, and you can be maybe like the saving grace if this spider encounter goes bad, right? But you're not going to be able to get him and get him back like before anyone else gets a chance to go. So, Oka, you take off, and a Gator follows you, and let's set as like they cut through the air like toward the bulettes, where the bulettes are furiously like pawing and digging through the water, like interestingly enough. So it's just Allie pulling, and she's starting to have like a harder time without like her companion Gator. So she's like, and like and the rig begins to like list a little bit like sideways because it's like sort of a little bit off balance now. But it's not like entirely off balance. So what do the rest of you do as Oka takes off?
Laura, could you get whichever one that is on the ship? It's pulling us off course.
Well, but then we're gonna be dead in the water. We're not gonna go forward.
We have a sail. We'll keep going.
Okay. Come here, Allie. Come on back onto the rig. Come on. Yeah, let me get that bridle off. Lore, shouldn't we? And V, Dewey, and Manaya make a insight check. Let me know what you get. 12 from Dewey.
2.
2 from V.
13.
13. Okay, V, this maybe like goes over your head a bit. Maybe you're concentrated on like the spider, right? That's like coming toward you. Dewey and Manaya, there is a little bit of like there's something going on with that bridle. Like it's probably a bad idea to take it off. And as Lore begins to like go for the bridle, like to bring Allie back onto the ship, what do the two of you do, if anything?
Even if I feel like something's gonna go wrong, I feel like Lore probably knows what they're doing more than Dewey does.
Okay, Manaya?
With the wind from the waterfall, I think Manaya is holding on to the sheets and can't really go forward
Okay.
to stop her.
Okay. So it's sort of like a dramatic moment as Manaya's like, wait, hold on. And Dewey's like hands are like not gonna interfere. Lore brings like Allie back, like it's like pulling Allie back onto the ship, you know, undoing like the harness that like keeps her like pulling the rig, takes the bridle off. And then there's like a noise, like a boop. There's like a compression, like a sucking noise. Because as soon as the bridle is removed, Allie poofs. And in Allie's place is a disheveled looking human man. Who is just like doesn't have a shirt on, just has like underwear on, and he goes, "Nah, what? Huh? What?" As Lore goes, "Ah!" and Quailheart goes, "Oh, I thought so." And the human man falls backwards and tumbles like onto the chariot with you, and he's like scrabbling around, like looking around, and he's like grabbing for. He's like, "Where's my what? Nay, Winnie, treats? What? Where? What? Who? What?" And he's looking around with like big wide eyes and like wild hair. And
The look on Max's face.
so at At this point, the spider's coming closer. And Oka, you're soaring toward the bullets. V, you haven't really gone yet, nor have Manai or Dewey really. So what's the three of your game plans? With what do you do?
I'm gonna attack this thing. I'm gonna use 7 sorcery points to create a level 5 spell slot.
Oh my
And I'm
god.
gonna cast Fireball at level 5.
Okay, just overkill.
Okay.
V is gonna kill a bitch. V is gonna kill a bitch.
Okay, so I'm gonna need the spider to do a dexterity save against 14.
It got a nat 1.
Okay, so this means I get 10 d6.
You're taking double damage?
Well, that means then it would be 20 d6.
Okay, so I'll either give you double damage or you get like something else narratively. You pick.
I'll take the 10 d6 and get something narratively.
Okay, sounds good. So roll 10d6.
While V is doing this, I have an
Okay,
idea.
yes, Dewey.
We joked about depression bath pigeon, but I have like a bar of soap somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assume you have some in your equipment.
Okay, I'm taking one of the buckets that they're bailing with that
Okay.
has water in it, and I'm dropping a bar of soap into it and then just like furiously like swishing it around with my hand.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll wait for V to do her.
Interesting. Dewey's gonna take a bath while this is happening, I guess.
Dewey be blowing bubbles. Dewey bubble man.
Dewey Bubble Man. Manaya, what are you doing? Do you address this horse boy, or are you waiting for like things to shake out?
I think maybe at this point the wind is regular enough, where she can like tie the sheets up for like a brief moment, and she's actually gonna use her axe to swing down and check the water. When you get close to a whirlpool, magical or otherwise, there's a lot of changes in temperature of the water because of all the different water it's pulling in and pushing out.
Wow. Take an inspiration for that. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's like using that to better gauge how close we are to the whirlpool.
Make a survival check.
I have one inspiration.
It's good. The DC will be
Survival.
low, given. All
It's a
your-
nat 20.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you're getting okay. With a nat 20, you know exactly how far away you are from the whirlpool. You're getting pretty close. You, in terms of like the fiction, probably like a couple more rounds, quote unquote rounds, before you like get there proper. And you can feel it in the wind too. You can feel the wind going in a certain direction, and it's getting stronger and stronger. And you just visually, you see those swirling clouds above head, right? And like it's weird because the sunless sky has this like dim like gray light pouring down, and like it's almost like a mini tornado, like above this whirlpool. You could see it. At first, you're like, "What is that? Is that a huge reef? Like peeking out of the ground, out of the water?" But you know better. It's the water. And it's moving so fast that it looks like it's not moving at all, as it's like swirling and swirling. And the size of the raven's eye is quite huge. Not going to give you the exact dimensions, but it's a big girl. She's big and she's hungry, and it is not a wise decision to go toward it in the water. But I mean, that's what you got to do. That's what you're here for.
As soon as the wind starts coming from the side, Manaya's gonna yell, "Scrum, quail, heads up!" and swing the whole sail over so that the wind is not like gonna hit the sail and knock us over.
Oh, that's really smart. I think that just happens because you plan for it. The sail swings and poof, you're like going in a more proper direction now.
Yeah. We're still going forward, but we're catching the wind from a different direction.
Yes, I love your sailing expertise because I don't know anything about sailing, so I'm glad you're bringing that to the table.
Triangle sails, best sails.
I think that's all we get that happens before Fireball resolves. So V, how much damage did you roll?
32 fire damage. Just a little low, actually. I rolled some ones and twos in there. But 32 points of fire damage. You just see V like lock out her arm, and then all of a sudden it's like you transport into V's eyes, and you just see like a bunch of calculations, adjusting for wind, da 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 da, and all of a sudden you just see the diamond glow a little bit, and then you just see bright light flashing from the spider as it's engulfed in a 20-foot wide fireball.
Pew! It's like a huge like explosion, right? Like like the end of season 1, like Legend of Korra, when like they're out on like the ship, and we just sort of see in the distance like huge explosion balloon up from the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, is a spider gonna come out of that? And you see like tumbling out of like the flames and the smoke, like the spider, but it's missing. It's missing a few legs. The rest of it seems to be like melting, you know, and it's like sparking on the water, and it's like moving erratically. You definitely seem to have like destabilized it, right? And like the gnome inside is going, no, my creation! As he's like trying to keep it stable, like holding down like all the controls, but it's not quite working. So yeah, you've really messed up the spider. It's not completely taken out of the equation, but you did a good job messing the spider up. So the spider is getting closer, but before I tell you what the spider does, Oka, the winds are getting strong as you approach the bullets, pulling along the tank. Gator is whinnying and struggling. They're doing their best, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough yet. What do you do to soothe their spirits or help them along?
I mean, Oka is real focused on the bullets, and they're just kind of like, instead of like sitting so far, they're like kind of like raised up a little bit, kind of like almost like holding their hands up like mid neck, sort of, with like maybe one foot braced on the back, and they're like, it'll be over so soon, just hang on 1 second, we're almost there.
Nay, and they hear you. And that seems to like soothe them a little bit, and they like boost, flap. You get to like hear them like snorting and sweating a lot.
Mm-hmm. And Oka's also still trying to use their knowledge of flight to assist, trying to like find water or wind currents, etc.
Just like Manaya, make a survival check. Tell me what you get.
15.
All right. Gator is soothed by you and seems to be calmed by your experience and expertise up in the air, and begins to follow your instructions. Are you calling Gator to swoop down toward where the bullets are? Okay. Gator cuts through the air, and like wind rushes past you, and your eyes begin to like tear up a little bit from like how fast you're like going, and all the other wind buffeting you. You hear like the batting of like a gator's wings, and then you can sort of see now as you get closer the bullets amidst all like the huge like aqua jets like going up around them. Both of them. Do you remember their names?
Mimi and Mimu, of course I do.
Yes, Mimi and Mimu cutting through the water, this huge tank. Can't seem to see you because you're approaching from above, right? And the arm of the tank is swiveling from side to side, but it doesn't seem to be able to move up and down. So you've got like a surprise attack here. You've got like a surprise opportunity here if you want to take it. Tell me what you do.
I'm going to land Gator on top of the tank.
Okay. Okay. Gator comes down, and you, just like Manaya, you're closer, right, to the Raven's Eye. Maybe just by a couple hundred feet. But wow. It's almost like seeing a huge hurricane, right? It's just like, as you get closer, you can see like the invisible debris and like salt spray just like whirling. And there's this huge whirlpool. Holy cow. Like there's like seagulls and stuff, but there are none like within this radius. You haven't heard a single bird, like a single seabird, even though you should be hearing plenty. Like this is just like a vortex of death, right? That is not a great idea to like go toward. You land on the top of the tank. What do you do next?
The bullets are kind of under the water, though, eh?
They're like they're swimming, so they go in and out of the water.
Oka is going to get off of Gator, and slide right down, just right onto one of them.
All right, what's your play here, Oka?
Okay, my play here is to try to get their attention because they love me. They're my babies. Is my play. And then I'm gonna, once they notice me, I'm their new director. Okay, here's my actual question. Do they have harnesses? Like, how are they attached to this thing?
Yeah, they have bridles and harnesses that are attaching them to the tank.
Great. Then in that case, I'm just going to cut their harnesses off with my culling edge.
Okay.
Because is this person going to shoot their tank at me, who's on the backs of their bullets? I think the fuck not.
Okay. Oka, which bullet are you hopping on?
Mimi first.
Okay, you hop onto Mimi, and Mimi doesn't even seem to notice you're there. Because, like, her shell, her armor is so tough that, like, it's almost like you're like an ant on the hide of an elephant. It can't sense you. And she's just, but there's, like, so much water. You just fly. It's intense. You're on the back of, like, a literal raging bullet. So I need you to make an athletics check to stay on. Using your inspiration? Okay, I'm going to dock that off. Don't forget, we have an auto crit.
I got a 17.
All right, you're able to stay strapped on, like maybe like clawing your way over like the bits of like the plate armor, and your culling edge comes out, and you sever the harnesses.
Yep.
You do that. Your culling edge cut.
Sorry, right at the corner of each of their mouths. So it just like the bridle comes right out.
I love that. And then I need you to make an animal handling check. Let's say with advantage because you've already formed a relationship with them.
Oh, thank fuck. It was a natural one.
Yeah.
Natural 20, I fucking swear. Look at it in my tray. It is a 20.
All right, I believe you. So with a natural 20, I'll let you pick the boon of your choice. It would be either you get to also free Mimu, or something else that you come up with.
I don't actually want to free Mimu, but I want to set both of them on a track and have them just like, basically just like, if Mimi is on the left, I'm going to just kind of like put my hand over her nose and just like lean my entire weight into Mimu. So both of like Mimi is going to hit Mimu and then go off course. Just like hard left. And if they just like keep pulling, they should just keep going hard left.
Away from the whirlpool, right?
Away from the whirlpool. Just like back towards the shore.
All right, it works. As you're still riding Mimi's back, but her bridle is cut, right? So she's not pulling. But she's driving Mimu, right? Instead of pulling. Okay, so she drives Mimu. Mimu lets out and they start to turn like huge like bulls. They start to turn away from the whirlpool exactly how you want it and like off course, like back toward like the Paluto Weald. And at this point, you can hear like a banging from the roof of the tank, but it's the roof is unable to open because your Pegasus is still on it. So you can hear a voice being like, "Hey, what the hell? Let me out! What the fuck? Hey!" Bang, 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 and they're like cursing in like Nabalish, as Gator just sort of like whinnies and like furrow like flaps their wings. So let's cut away from you at this point, Oka, and go back to our rig and the spider. So the spider rushes toward your rig, skating over the surface of the water, like several like legs, spindly, flaming, smoking, on fire, bleeding oil into the water. And the spider, like its eyes, all 8 of its eyes, like on its like mechanized face, like glow red, and it shoots out a length of webbing toward the rig. So it is going to make an attack roll.
I think Max has been wanting to say something for a while.
You make your attack roll, and then
yeah. Let me resolve this first because the enemies have to go. So it shoots the webbing toward your rig, and it like a net seems to open and and it covers maybe like half of the rig. Right? It doesn't hit the sail, but it does like the force of it like knocks your rig like a little bit, like it wobbles a bit, and it begins to slow down your craft because there's like this thick, like gooey, like white webbing like over like the front part of the chariot. So after this happens, Dewey, yes, you look like you had something you wanted to do.
The spider's gonna approach, like try and pull up to us, right?
Yes, it's approaching in a haphazard, sparking electrical manner.
Okay. Seeing that it's kind of unsteady, Dewey's going to run over to the side of the ship where it's on the side that the spider's coming on, and lean over the edge and take the bucket of soapy water and toss it in as long of a stream as he can get it. So the soapy water hits the seawater, and then the spider runs over it, and then because it's running on surface tension, it just falls directly through. It just falls right through the water.
Wow, real physics
It just goes
hours. You said
Fucking
surface
Looney
tension.
Tunes. It's Looney Tunes in here.
You said surface tension, and I was like, what? So, Max, I'm going to give you another point of inspiration. You have a full house, just so you know. All bases are loaded for you. And yeah, because this idea is awesome, I think it just works. As you throw the bucket of soapy water out, the horseboy actually goes, it'd be nice if I could get cleaned up. As you throw the bucket overboard. And the spider dips under the water, and it disappears.
And then I cut the webbing.
Yeah.
I don't want to drag it.
Okay. Yeah. That okay. And then you use a knife and you cut the rest of the webbing off. Your rig continues to plow through the water, borne on the sail. And Lord just goes, "What happened, Dewey? How did you?" He's a genius. I knew it.
I'm an arachnophobe. Shut up.
At that point, all of you see like cutting perpendicular across your path, but not like gonna collide with you, but like rather go past you. You see the Bulettes with a Pegasus on top of the tank and Oka on the back of one of the Bulettes. Oka, do you say anything as you pass by the path of your friends?
I think is this stupid? I don't know. As Max, you're shaking your head no, and I can't tell if that's don't do it or yes, it is stupid.
Do it.
Oka, I think, has gotten up, and they have told Gator, they're like, you're gonna be, you're safe now, just like head back towards the shore, and they've like kind of like petted his snoot, so he just stays on top, so the the person in there can't get out as the Bullets go back towards the shore. They pet Mimi. And then they stand up, like kind of like surfing, style on the Bulet's back. They wave at Manaya, and then they dive into the water.
You're gonna swim back to the rig?
Yes.
Okay, just make an athletics check for me as you do that. As you jump off the tank, like Gator takes off.
Actually, it might be smarter if I ride Mimi a little bit toward, and then jump, maybe.
Okay, then let's retcon the athletics check, because that would be a lot smarter than you jumping into the open fucking ocean like half a mile away from a whirlpool. From like the fucking Bermuda Triangle. Okay. So Oka, you hop onto Mimi, and Mimi goes and like follows your orders, like paddles, like makes a beeline right for the rig. As Gator takes off and like flies away. And you don't what? You're not sending Gator away?
Gator is staying on top of the tank so that the guy can't get out and fix what I've destroyed.
Until you hit the shore, right? And then you're setting Gator free, basically? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Then in that case, Gator just sort of like stands there, like looking off at you, like kind of forlornly, as Mimu like carries, and you can hear the gnome and the drow woman like inside the tank go, "Hey, let us out! The hell, we can't see anything! Hey!" As they're like pounding on the inside, and like you swear to God, you swear to send Oka, you swear you hear Gator say, "Thank you," as the Bullets swim away, and as you ride Mimi back, do you do like a cool, like, do you like hop off of Mimi's back and into the rig and send Mimi away situation?
I give her a kiss on the top of her head. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she sort of like
You're
treads
the
water.
best. Oka's like, you're the best Bulet in the whole world. Don't forget that.
Snarf, snarf, snarf. And then she takes off for
Really
the
a
shore.
touching moment for Transplanar here.
Okay, yeah. And then she takes off for the shore. And Oka, just make a low DC athletics check to like hop back onto the rig. Yeah, you like fucking backflip, front flip, somersault, dive back into the rig. And I think it's time to wrap up the session as we approach the Raven's Eye exterior whirlpool day. We see from a bird's eye view, right? The swirling, frothing, vicious, white-tipped foam like waves of the swirling whirlpool of the Raven's Eye. There's like a almost like a hurricane tornado, like wind and like clouds swirling in a counterclockwise fashion above it. And then we see a tiny speck approach for maybe like half a mile off, getting closer. And we zoom in on the speck, and it's our heroes, the Bone Breakers. Just kidding. Oka, Manaya, Dewey, and V on top of the rig with Quail Heart, Scrum, and Lore exactly where you had asked them to be positioned, Manaya. And there's sort of like a look of like excitement and like, oh my god. And like Scrum is like, we're gonna win. We're gonna do it. We just have to go right past the eye and we can win. Look there. I think I see Quicksilver. And as he points, all of you see sort of like past the Raven's Eye, like a safe miles away. You see floating in the air. It's really interesting. There's a finish line that's just sort of like suspended in midair, like a ribbon across, right? And it says literally on it in common, like finish line. And then like the words fade and in Nabalish, like finish line, and then like in all the different like languages of Andake. And Lore goes, all right, Manaya, this is about time we go around, right? And then go for the finish line? Because we're getting kind of close to the current.
It's like you said, Law. Straight lines are always the fastest.
I know, but we're in first place. So, you know, I mean, what are you suggesting, Manaya? Manaya?
Trust me.
Oh my god. As she starts screaming in Nabalish, do you understand her going like, oh my god, they're crazy, we're screwed, Scrub, Quailheart, we're screwed. And Quailheart just puts a hand on Dewey's shoulder and goes, Dewey, you wipe him off. But he just goes, it will be an honor to die side by side with my brother. Scrum goes, wait, you guys are brothers? All right, Manaya, Oka, Dewey, V, as you approach, I mean, what do you do? How are you? Wow, okay, what's the game plan here? Tell me.
Tell you next episode. Let's end here.
Okay, next episode as we're rushing toward the Raven's Eye? Or do we want to end on, because Oka, I feel like you had a plan. I don't want to mess with
Oh, wrong button. I don't want to mess with Manaya's plan.
All right, sounds good. Then I think I will leave you off with this. Manaya, make an insight check.
Nat 20.
Seriously? What the fuck is up with these nat 20s? Okay, Manaya, tell me what it looks like as you are at the back of this boat, sailing toward your destiny.
Manaya takes the sheets, unties them, and lets them fly. And the sail collapses. And she runs to the front of the boat, and leans over the edge, trying to get a view of the inside of the whirlpool.
Okay. And with your nat 20 insight check, as you lean and you try to look into the eye of the Raven's Eye, images hit you. This isn't like flashback sequence or anything. These are like actual images getting beamed into your brain from somewhere. You get a flash of swirling water. A shark like whirling past like a wall of white. And then you get a flash of a cove somewhere. fish swimming all around, some sort of bubble, and then you get a flash of like wet, like coral and soil and earth. And then you get a flash of your mother's face. Kahealani. She looks almost exactly like she looked the last day you saw her. Hasn't gotten older. In fact, those clothes even look similar, but she takes up the entire view of your vision, and she seems to be shouting, saying something. And her face is sort of like salt bleached, and there's like kelp in her hair. She looks a little wet, but she's able to talk, so she can't be underwater, right? And then it flashes again, and you see like her moving over to like there's like you're like in like a small cove or something. And you see your other mom, Nolly. She's lying prone on the ground with her back, like looking up, and she's coughing and sputtering. And then you realize who you are. You're your father. You are Napua. He is linking with you right now somehow as you're getting closer and closer to where he is. And he's trying to transmit these memories. No, it's not a memory. It's what's happening right now into your head. And you hear now like the voices in Wuhan, like getting louder and clearer. You couldn't catch them before, but you get the snippets now. Hear Kahealani go, destabilizing. It's not good. It's not good. There's something going on. The undeath, whatever this thing is, she can't hold on any longer. And you hear yourself speak. Napua freezes. Manaya? Is that you? What do you mean, Napua? What do you mean, Manaya? She's here. I can sense her. It must be working. The princess must have found her. Manaya, we're here. Manaya, you have to come. Nali, she can't hold on much longer. She needs the princess. And I think on that, we can end the session. And we will be back next week for episode 15. Episode 15 is the actual last episode. We always call our second to last episode of every arc the finale, because usually we have space for the final episode of every arc to be the denouement, or however you pronounce it, the tying the resolution, right? So we will see you all next week. That is going to be April 17th at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time for the actual final episode of Arc 2, which is episode 15. I have been your GM and executive producer. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter and itch at @byconniechong. I have several modules up on itch you should check out for D&D 5th edition and system agnostic stuff. I'm going to pass things along now to Devin.
Hello, everyone. My name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on our Discord server. For those of you who are new, come join in, share pictures of your pets, share theories of what's going to happen. What is Manaya's plan? I know what Manaya's plan is. Y'all ain't going to know, though, until next episode. Share pictures of your beautiful faces if you'd like. Share pictures of your beautiful art, whether it be fan art or original art. We always love to see it. And get us the fuck back to 420 and counting after somebody messed it up. And I'll pass on introductions to Erica.
I'm just like, oh god, was it me? Then I had, yeah. Hi everybody, I'm Erica. I played Vinox Scherzo, and you can find me Erica New Girl. I'm here on Twitch, and actually on Monday I am returning to an art stream. I started on this platform as an art streamer, and it'll be my first art stream in very long time. So come check that. It'll be some chill vibes. We'll have a good time. Go ahead, Max.
Hey, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play, I guess, back to Dirty Boy Dewey. You can find me on Instagram mostly at Starchmonger and Stitchmonger. Pass it to C.
Hi, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I played Okahye, our resident monster lover. Monster hunter? Who knows? Not me anymore, I guess. You can find me on the internet at PieSharpArt. But I also do some streaming. I plan to be streaming tomorrow, Sunday, at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on pi_sharp, doing a little bit of art and fun stuff like that. So if you're interested, drop me a follow, hang out with me tomorrow. I appreciate it. And with that, I'll pass it back to Connie.
All right, wonderful. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We are now going to raid, so stick around for the raid. Wow, let's see.
Oh.
I think Kupo's on.
Kupo. Yeah? Are they? Okay, let me see. Kupo.
I'm playing Cozy Grove, which is a new indie game, kind of like Animal Crossing, but in a more like hand-drawn style with ghosts. Go check it out.
Fantastic. We're gonna raid Kupo. Don't forget to use the raid message in chat. Thank you. Transplanar is plane shifting into your stream with Manaya Loves. So yeah, we're gonna raid. I'm gonna just let it. I'm going to keep talking for a bit so mobile viewers can catch up before I hit that raid button. I'm going to keep talking. That is a trick that C taught me.
No, Connie, the idea is that you stop talking and then you go to the BRB screen and then you watch on your phone until the stream has caught up with your phone and then you raid. You don't have to keep talking.
At this point, we're good. So we're gonna raid Kupo. We love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.